You want enemies to lovers. You want the sexy, hot, red flag, male lead character that is beautiful as he is cunning, as he is vicious, as he is ruthless. You want the female lead to actually make some damn sense and to be a tactician, like tactical and smart and savvy, while also using her beauty as currency in this political charged climate. Prisoner of Beauty, there's a lot cooking here. My next C-drama watch is The Prisoner of Beauty. This one has a lot of hype going into it. There's a lot of controversy that was keeping this show from actually airing sooner, but I'm glad that everything behind the scenes kind of worked out and that this came out. Now that it's out, there's been several episodes. I've watched at least the first 7 and I do have some thoughts. So this is my first impressions of the show and whether I think it's worth you even getting into in the first place. Hi, I'm Monique. I am the host of Off by Purple Art podcast, where I talk to you about K-dramas and C-dramas and BTS and so much more. I am really intrigued by this show. I have wanted a historical C-drama to hit me just as much as The Double did. I talked a lot about The Double last year on this podcast and how much I enjoyed it. And I really want another big blockbuster one. I don't know if Prisoner of Beauty would qualify as that yet, but I can tell you there is some promise with this show. If you're looking for red flag male leads and you want enemies to lovers, you're looking for just a female lead that is tactical and smart and not what she appears to be, and she can be empathetic and vulnerable and not just be like a super duper mastermind that's also a skilled fighter who also is able to outmatch every single opponent. Like, there is element of danger there, but she's not as what she seems. So there's a lot of intelligence there, but she can be very vulnerable. And I think it's just a really interesting mix. The two actors have a really interesting chemistry already. You know what? Ling Yuying, he is just a very good looking man. I enjoy him. I enjoy that he plays red flag characters, and I think this is his bread and butter. And this show, he's really, from what I've seen so far, he's excelling. I think with Song Zuyur, I'm not as familiar with her catalog, but I do understand that there was a little bit behind the scenes, with both actors, that delayed production for the show, but I'm glad that it fully came out. Brief synopsis for this is that these two come from families that are like sworn nemesis. They're sworn enemies, sworn rivals, whatever you want to call it. Very antagonistic, very bloody history between these two clans. And in particular, I think her grandfather was responsible for a very tactical decision within war that essentially cost the male lead his entire family. His entire family was essentially butchered and taken down because of a single decision that her grandfather, her family made, and that is what has made them sworn enemies. And they've been at it for at least a good 14 years of just ripe tension. So we're in the midst of war. These two clans are at it, and I think as a offering of peace and to stabilize a lot of the tension that has been rising, there comes a decision that he, the male lead, should marry her. And it's sort of not necessarily an olive branch, but this is supposed to help quell some of the bloody violence that has been occurring. And this is a love match that, while seems like a marriage of convenience, which is another trope that's in this, both parties are extremely hesitant about doing this. They are both very begrudgingly involved in this union, and it does not really go well initially at all. And you're just seeing like the tactical, very intricate mind games that these two basically deploy against one another while they're forced into this union for the peace of everything and for these two clans to finally come to an understanding. So as I said, I've gone up to about 7 episodes of this, and I find it intriguing. I enjoy a good red flag male lead when he is played by a beautiful man, first of all, and when the acting is good enough that through the acting and through the writing, you can tell that the character isn't exactly what they appear. They may appear vicious, ferocious, ruthless, and cunning. And I'm not saying that he's completely absolved of the things that he does to the female lead, because he gets very nasty with her within these episodes. But as much as she shows vulnerability, and there's definite moments where you can tell she's very scared and intimidated by this man, she can also play him just as well, and she is very smart and cunning. But she's not like someone that is very proficient in like fighting style, at least from what I've seen in the first episodes or so. But she is brilliant, and she's a technician. Like, she can be pragmatic, and I love female leads that are smart. I like female leads that are intelligent. That's why Ali basically made my heart flutter in the double, and more shows of that nature that have come out recently, as far as a historical type realm, like Blossom as well, I really enjoyed. I enjoy that type of female lead. Their interplay has been very fascinating and a lot of fun to watch play out, and I'm really interested in when their chemistry kind of flourishes even more, and it comes to the point where it's going to be undeniable that they have this spark that they can't tamper down. And as much as they want this to be a marriage convenience, that they're never going to fall in love anyways. There has been several episodes that have aired since, but I'm at episode 7. I find it intriguing. As I said, I really, really enjoy red flag male leads in a historical sense. When it's like a modern C-drama, that is when I have a harder time. It really depends on the actor, and it really depends on the script. It can go really sideways for me, only for love, but I can really enjoy a male red flag in a historical sense. I feel like the stakes are always higher, and there's always so much more that's going underneath the surface. I feel like in modern day, it's really hard to wrap your head around a female lead kind of sticking around for the BS. At least in this scenario, there is a mutual benefit and goal of these two being together. This is much more than their own personal desires. This is not about attraction. This isn't about love at first sight. It's about none of that. Even though I love that their first actual meeting with one another and him laying his eyes upon her for the very first time, you could tell that he was really startled and taken aback by her beauty, hence the title Prisoner of Beauty. But he immediately like brushes off, like, she thinks she's all that just because she's pretty. Yeah, get the hell out of here. That kind of energy, right? But there is actual tangible benefits for them being together, and this is absolutely a political marriage, and it's actually life or death. There's actual stakes involved in them being together, no matter how much they dislike this. And also, you see in the female lead that she can be quite selfless, and she can be self-sacrificing, but at the same time have an agenda and have an overall arching goal to help her family, to help her clan, and to restore order. So I think it's a very interesting play of dynamics. But let me know your thoughts. Have you gotten into The Prisoner of Beauty, or are there any other C-dramas that you're currently watching right now that you think are deserving of hype? Please let me know in the description, or I should say in the comment section below, if you're watching the YouTube format of this very short podcast episode, or if you're listening or watching via Spotify, or if you're interacting with Apple Podcasts platform as well. Please interact with those platforms. I really do enjoy that commentary. I like that back and forth. Let me know your thoughts. I'm always looking for the next good thing, and I'm really hoping with more episodes going into this drama that I'll really enjoy it. But let me know your thoughts. Until the next one.